Morgan Cole, and we're coming to the end of my Christmas project of reading Christmas scenes from all my Newfoundland historical novels. Today I'm going to do a little reading from Such Miracles and Mischiefs, which is book 2 of the Cupid's trilogy. And this one finds us in, I believe it's Christmas 1613 in Cupid's Cove. And our main characters are Catherine Guy, and her husband Nicholas Guy, and the rest of the Cupid's Cove colonists as they are celebrating Christmas. Just a short scene here. All around the big dwelling house, voices rang out in merry harmony. I won't sing, I'll just read it. The boar's head in hand bear I, bedecked with bays and rosemary. What Elizabeth Guy brought from the hearth was not, in fact, a boar's head, but a whole roast piglet. Good thing, too. It would have better eating on it than a head alone. And while it was not bedecked with bays and rosemary, it was fragrant and well-spiced, and the platter was adorned with preserved berries and apples and sprigs of evergreen. Everyone joined in the carol as the 12th night feast was laid on the long table. Catherine picked up her son, who was trying to climb from the floor by her skirts, and put him on her lap so he could see the feast laid out before them. At 9 months, he was still far too young to understand about Christmas or the 12 days. He only knew that he always wanted to be up, up, up to see everyone and everything happening around him. "Take care, sweeting," said Nicholas, and transferred the baby to his own lap. "There's scarce room for 2 there." Nicholas was peacock proud of Catherine's swelling 5-month belly, and quick to take her share of any burden and spare her lifting anything heavy, including the child they already had. Catherine had almost managed to bury that little stab of guilt she felt every time Nicholas gave her a proud smile or said how fine it would be when they had 2 children to bring to their own plantation. She resolved in her mind that she would never know for certain whether the babe was Nicholas's child or Thomas's. What difference would it make in the end? Nicholas believed the child was his, had no reason to think otherwise. So it would bear his name and he would raise it and love it. He was a kindly father, she knew already. She was a fortunate woman in so many ways. "Which thus be decked with a gay garland, let us severe cantico." Everyone sang with great gusto, though a little distance away Catherine heard Jem Hallworthy muster, "I don't hold with all this Latin, 'tis popish nonsense." "Peace, man, 'tis only a carol, just a bit of fun," Nicholas said. "Even a Puritan can enjoy his dinner and a song, may he not?" "Never said I was a Puritan, only that I don't hold with Latin." But Hallworthy tucked into his roast pork right heartily, not too greatly troubled by the popish prattle. The diners at the feast were all the inhabitants of the big house, Philip Guy's house, the acting governor and his family, Nicholas and Catherine and their servants, and a half-dozen others. Neither the Whittingtons nor the Butlers were there, both presiding over 12th night feasts in their own houses, though there had been talk of everyone coming together later for dancing and games. Catherine still longed for the peace and privacy of their own house and land, but she did enjoy a gathering such as this one, with music and feasting and laughter. She imagined next year, celebrating their Christmas and 12th night feast in their own house. Bess and Frank and the baby would be with them, of course, and her 2 children and Daisy. But her imagination persisted in peopling the table with those who could not be there. Ned and Nancy ought to be at that table, and poor Tom Taylor by Daisy's side. Well-a-day, 'twas folly to imagine Tom would ever sit beside Daisy again. That poor girl had buried 2 husbands by now. But Ned and Nancy, could they return? She had placed such hope in Ned's idea that he could somehow go find Nancy and bring her home. It was like a knight's quest in a romance. But truly, what were the chances of finding one young woman with all the vast ocean to search? Even Catherine, much as she loved tales and romances, knew that love alone was not equal to such a task. When the meal was done, the singing began, with Frank taking up the fiddle to play some Christmas tunes. Everyone joined in to sing the one about the cherry tree, and Catherine's mouth watered at the thought of fresh, ripe cherries. So far, no one had found any growing in this land, and they were among the English delicacies she missed. "I wish I had cherries now," she said to her husband. He laughed. "You and the Virgin Mary. I vow, if we were in a cherry orchard, I'd gladly pick you some." Catherine's cheeks flushed. She had forgotten that in the carol, Joseph refused to pick cherries for Mary because she was carrying a child that was not his. "I'll make do with a slice of that pudding if you'll go and fetch me some," she said quickly. Whoever fathered this child I'm carrying, she thought, 'twas surely not the Holy Ghost. The door opened and the chilly night wind blew in. Along with a swirl of snow, 7 or 8 people entered the room, but it was impossible to tell who they were. Every face was covered up with a cloth mask of some kind. Bess clutched her baby closer and let out a little shriek. "'Tis the pirates come again," she squealed. A ripple of nervous laughter greeted her cry. No ship could have come into the ice-filled harbor in the dead of winter, but the voice that responded was easy to recognize as George Whittington's. "Aye, 'tis me, the great Captain Easton, not to come to burn and steal, but to mummer and sing for you." Another of the masked figures put a recorder to the cut-out mouth of his mask, and as the piping began, the mummers all burst into a carol. Frank's fiddle joined the tune, and soon everyone was clapping hands and singing together. I don't know if the mummers are coming to your house tonight or any time, but I hope you enjoyed this reading. There won't be one tomorrow night. I'm going to post the last reading of this series on Christmas Eve, and you will have to decide whether you're the kind of person who likes to peek at your Christmas presents early, because what I'm going to post on Christmas Eve is another Christmas scene, but it's from book 3 of the Cupid's trilogy, which will not be out until this fall. I'll try and make sure it's a scene that doesn't have too many spoilers in it, and I know some people are anxious to know what happens in this book, so this is a chance for your sneak peek, but you can decide whether or not you want to open that package before it's ready. And whether you tune in for the last reading or not, have a Merry Christmas.